So Sister Eileen Burns from Notre Dame Education Center in Lawrence is next.
Okay, thank you very much. So at Notre Dame Education Center, we're mostly language acquisition, do some job training, which is a CNA program. We do some career pathways, and we do some citizenship preparation and high school equivalency. What I was asked, what Cindy asked me to address, is just to think about, from educator to educator, some models and the culture of using this, and the needs for the staff in terms of thinking about this tool, and also in terms of training and orienting. So if you'll indulge me for a minute, if we think about a traditional classroom, we're all used to that. There's a certain amount of content delivery, and then with that content delivery, we do some processing, we do some skills building, we practice those skills. So Career Ready 101, you could think about it as a different kind of model where we know we're also familiar with this new educational model called distance learning. So people take courses from afar, and we know that a lot has changed in distance learning since it was first introduced. So now they say it's very important to have a cohort in order to have perseverance. That if you just have a teacher at the University of Kentucky that gives you your diplomas, it's not enough. You need you need a cohort. You need some kind of interaction with those who are also taking the course. So you can think about Career Ready 101 as a course with 17 courses in it, if you wanted to. So and they're each called units. And hopefully you've all downloaded the curriculum that you can get from the administration part of what these 17 courses are. So that's one way of thinking about it, and I'll just talk a little bit about what we've done on a distance learning kind of way. And we can also think about the new reverse classroom model that goes on. I don't know how many of you are familiar with that. So that is that there's a certain amount of content to deliver, so you use your teacher, your professional, not to just deliver content, but to help people when they have obstacles and roadblocks in order to process, in order to really understand the skills, and so they can practice them. So a reverse classroom model uses mostly technology to learn the content, and then your teacher is there to kind of like help people with problems they've had in their homework. So it's a more efficient way because it's less content driven by the teacher, but the machine actually delivers the content, and then the teacher is there to do some processing. So that's another kind of gaining momentum as a kind of way of delivering content. So we've had those three: the traditional, the distance learning, the reverse classroom, and you've heard Sandy just talk about a blended model. So this is a little bit different than any of those three. So what we have found is very helpful is this blended model. And that is where we do have a cohort using the tool all at once. So I think you've each talked about that, so that the computer lab is available, everybody's working on the same thing. And we don't call the teacher a teacher anymore, we call the teacher a coach. And so the coach's job is to look at obstacles. For us, in Career Ready 101, and also in our ESOL classes, which we're not supposed to call ESOL anymore, now it's ELA, right? EOA, but we still speak in ESOL. So we do SPL 4 to 6. And you know that those of you, and I think it's probably all of us, who are funded by DESE, we're being asked now to really introduce math concepts into our delivery of ESOL. So this is the way we do that. As you said, Barbara, lower levels, they can't deal with the vocabulary. There's a lot of vocabulary in this, even in the math. So they need a base of vocabulary before they can attempt it. One thing you did say, Barbara, also is not different languages, and Spanish has just been released. We asked our teachers on lower level, SPL 0 to 3, to please experiment with that, and I couldn't get any bites because they said, how am I going to do that? I don't speak Spanish. So if they're learning math in Spanish, I can't help them. So there's a little problem there, if this is the model that you're using, this blended model. With at Career Ready 101, as I said, there's 17 courses. The main courses that we have been using is, and you probably all know these by heart already, reading for information, locating information, graphs, diagrams, charts, and applied math. So we're using applied math for our ESOL, SPL 4 to 6. And then for career pathways, we're using the 3 programs. Now, why those 3 programs are so important, those 3 courses out of the 17, is that if you do well in those, you can take an exam called Work Keys, and you can get a National Work Readiness Certificate. And as Kelly said, you can look up and see what career, if you want a career, what levels do you need to be in to pass those. I know I got this from you, Jen Jane, and I've kept it as like a second Bible, it's not my first. But this has been very, I used it today with a staff person to explain, oh, this is why you're not thinking of this correctly. So if you pass level 3, you're at about a 6th grade level in early high school. If you are in level 4, that would be equivalent to knowing about as much as a student in high school. If you are 555, that means you are equivalent to having just started college. And if you are a 6 or a 7, that means you're well into college. So some of my teachers have taken it with their master's degrees, and they haven't always scored 7. So that is a kind of helpful tool to think about what this is about, what we're asking people to do. So in this blended model, we're asking people to take this, and so let's just stick with the math for instance, because that's what we use in both career pathways and ESOL. So in every one of them, as you know, there's a program introduction. Once they've done that, if they're doing another course, they don't have to do the program introduction again. It's the same in every course. The second thing is applied mathematics work keys introduction. They do need to do that. Each course has a different intro. And then in this particular math class, they have something called a calculator review. And then finally, they do a pretest. So the pretest, what happens is it gets harder and harder until they can't go on. And the pretest levels them into a level of where they should start. So they're not all starting at the beginning and moving up. So some are starting at level 2, some are starting at level 3, some may even be already at level 4 before they start. Now, I want to just talk about this culture of staff and how you think about that, because we used this tool first in the spring of 2010. And my teachers, and some of you have heard me say this before, but now that you're using it, maybe it makes sense, they hated it. And they said, get rid of that. We called it key train then, we didn't have, which is a part of Career Ready 101. We hate that. You know, we just teachers, we're standing around and they're doing all this on the computer and they don't have good computer skills. We had a grant, an hour grant that we were using it with another company at that time. And then the next semester, we didn't have it. And we said, okay, so you can work with the book. So there's different ways to deal with Career Ready 101, to deal with the work keys exams. So we use CAT. Some of you are familiar with that. And another good series to work with it, and we use it more for the tutors now, is McGraw-Hill's Contemporary. Those have all 3. My teacher said, what are you doing to me? I hate this. Because I said, you wanted a book, you wanted a class, you wanted a traditional class. They said, yes, but this person's on this level, this person's on this level, I can't keep up. I said, exactly, that's why key training is so good, because it works to the level of each person. So you need to work as staff, think about that. What are you trying to accomplish? And what is the easier delivery, right? So if you don't want to teach everybody fractions, when half the group understands fractions, half the group doesn't have a clue that a fraction and a decimal is the exact same thing, just named in a different way. So I'm a real proponent of Career Ready 101. I think it really works very well, and it has worked well for us. So we give these exams, and so since 2010, we've had 263 3 people pass and get a National Work Readiness Certificate. On the gold level, we've only had 8. On the silver level, 127, and the bronze level, 128. So it does work, but as I said, since 2010, we've been working on this, and it's a hard road, and we're learning new things. So we just got a grant from the local WIB, Merrimack Valley WIB, got a grant through ComCorp for what they call healthcare transformation. We're now working with 3 nursing homes in our area. We're using Career Ready 101 with them, and we're really struggling. So we've got 5 years behind our belt, and we're using it as a distance learning tool, and people are not persevering. Some are, some aren't. So we're missing now this blended model aspect, because they're all doing it at home. So what I want to just encourage you as you begin, it's going to take time. It's going to take thinking about and strategizing. What is this grant you're working towards? What are you trying to accomplish? And it's also going to take a lot of, not hand-holding, but explaining what the rationale and what the opportunities are and what the struggles of both are with your teachers. Because it's not automatic. How you deliver this, the support that you're going to give the adult learners as they're trying to struggle with this, all that makes a big difference. I just want to, I know I got my 2-minute warning, so I just want to also mention what Barbara mentioned, learn how to do the administrative tools so you can set it in different ways. I don't know if Lawrence is that different than you, but we do not have the problem of people waiting to get 100% before they go on. Our problem is people skip it all, want to go to the quiz and see if they can just pass so they can race through. So we can set it so that they have to have an 80% to pass the quiz. And then if they take the quiz twice and flunk it twice, they're frozen. They can't do any more work till they talk to the coach. So you have some options there. What do you want to say is they're passing for the quiz? And also, do you want to freeze them so they can't just race through to say they did it and accomplish it? So hopefully that was helpful, and hopefully, again, it just gives you a sense that you are in control in a way, and in other ways there's no control, it just happens. But you have to set some parameters, you have to decide how you want to design this, what you're trying to accomplish, and who your adult learners are, and what kind of support they need. Okay, so as I said, naively we thought, all right, these people are all CNAs, they can do this as a DL class. Wrong. We're really struggling to try to figure out the support needs to go with it. Okay? So thank you.